Ah, today's modern women and how they cannot stand being held accountable. For example,
One of the things that I think men are realistically failing to see is that they are asking for a test to be done for such an insignificant issue.
all right, for those who don't know, what she's talking about is paternity testing. You know, that insignificant thing which holds women accountable by having to prove that the man she's claiming is the father of her child actually is. In other words, going not based on her word, but the actual truth. And of course, she, like almost all women, has a problem with that. And why is that? Because even they know women cheat. Cheat a lot. In fact, they cheat as much or more than men, though, to give credit where credit is due, they are one hell of a lot better at hiding it than men are. And how do we know women cheat a lot? Well, it's proven by the very tests she's saying shouldn't be done. The ones she's calling insignificant. The ones that prove that about 30% of the time, the man the woman has declared to be the father isn't. And even if you want to make the argument that that number isn't fair because that's only the ones that are being tested, well, that's kind of the point. It's exactly why we do need mandatory testing of all children. Because you see, the truth is, we don't actually know how high the number really is. And that's the reason women oppose testing so much. Because they know that number is one hell of a lot higher than they want found out. Hell, recent studies that did account for the gap in testing, that did look at the actual total number of births, not just the ones that were tested, put the number somewhere between 10 and 12% of all children born. And while she and women in general want to claim that's insignificant, when you consider how many births there are worldwide each year, which is give or take about 140 million, that means somewhere around 14 to 7 million men are being deceived every single year. Now, I don't know about you, but 14 to 17 million doesn't seem like such an insignificant number to me.
They're not asking for tests to be done for any other reason, just because they feel like women are lying to them.
Other tests? What other tests? Notice she didn't mention what these supposed tests are. Gee, I wonder why. And as for men feeling women are lying, no, sweetie, it's not a feeling. It's an absolute fact. An absolute fact that women lie. Lie to the man they claim is the father, lie to the actual father, and oh yeah, lie to the child they conceived and bore, the child they claim to love, yet are lying to. Because nothing says, I'm a great mom, like lying to your children for years, in many cases their entire lives, about who their real father is.
And again, it's a really small amount. I think I did the numbers yesterday, and it's like 129,000 out of 3.5 million babies born.
Per year, sweetheart. That's per year. And that's just in the U.S. Which means that when you use the 76 years or so, which is the average lifespan in the U.S., that puts it somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 million men, women, and children who have been lied to about who their real father is. Which in turn means another 10 million men have been lied to about being the father. And oh yeah, another 10 million who actually are the father and don't know it. So that's roughly 30 million people affected in just the U.S. Doesn't sound so insignificant now, does it? But if you think it is, well, I'm sure there's a reason. But hey, let's just go with your number for a moment, for the sake of argument, and call it like it is. What you are literally saying out loud is that 129,000 instances of women committing fraud and abuse is okay, because, meh, that's insignificant. Not me saying it, it's her saying it. So if 129,000 out of 3 million people were killed this year, you'd agree that's an insignificant number too, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. And why is she saying it? Well, let me tell you why. Either she has committed paternity fraud against her child, the man she claimed as the father, and the actual father, or she's planning to in the future. Because, and again, let me point this out, she said it, not me. It's only 129,000 out of about 3.6 million. Of course, the part she's also leaving out again, that number only includes the ones who were DNA tested, not all of the 3.6 million births. And if it did include that number, those figures would be way higher, and she knows it, which is why she's making the argument she is. It's why she and most women call it insignificant and no big deal. The fact is, women lie all the time. They do it all day, every day. They lie to men, they lie to each other, and they lie to themselves, mostly to justify their bad behavior and avoid taking accountability or responsibility for it. Like, oh, I don't know, telling themselves that mothers defrauding their children and men is insignificant and no big deal, because they're likely guilty of doing just that. Sorry, darling, it's not insignificant. It's fraud. It's child abuse. It's domestic violence, all wrapped up into one.
It's insignificant, but they're running with the idea that, oh, she must lie to me. She's going to lie to me. They already have this innate thought that women lie to them. And they want a test done to prove that she's lying, even though the data says that the likelihood of a woman lying about paternity is really, really low.
All right, sweetie, if 10 to 30% is really, really low, really insignificant, here's a little challenge I have for you. How about we play a certain Russian game, Now, I can't give the full name of the game because that will get this video taken down, but I bet you know the one I mean. The one where you go for a spin and point and click. And no, let me be clear here. I'm not advocating anyone do that. So if you're thinking that, stop already. I'm just using it to illustrate a point. And let's load not one, but two of the chambers to match that 30% number of DNA tests coming back proving the named father isn't the father. And then let's take it for a spin. Tell me, darling, are you willing to take that risk now? Are you willing to prove it's insignificant? Well, we already know you won't, nor should you. You'd have to be a complete idiot to think that that's a good idea. Yet, here you are demanding that men do just that. Be complete idiots and just take a woman's word because men believe all women. When women lie, cheat, and steal from men and their children every single day.
So instead of looking at something that could be extremely important or a test that is really important, like, I don't know, something like, let's figure out how to cure cancer. Who wants to add to the let's figure out how to cure type 1 diabetes fund? Because I got 2 kids. I would love for you to add to that fund.
Ah, yes, the classic ad hominem false equivalency argument that women love to make. You know, the ones that have absolutely nothing to do with the topic at hand. Good God, can they ever stay on point? Anyway, did you pick up on something there? She just said she's got 2 kids. Well, I'd bet a large amount of money there's a pretty significant chance that one or both of those children's fathers aren't who they think they are. That man or men she's named as the father should immediately be demanding a DNA test. It's pretty obvious there's a legitimate concern because she's so against testing. She's got to be hiding something. Which brings up the point. If women are telling the truth, if the risk really is insignificant, why would any woman oppose a DNA test? I mean, if they're telling the truth, they have nothing to fear, right? Which leads to a logical conclusion that if they are so opposed to it, there's a pretty darn good reason why. Oh, and ladies, spare me the it shows a lack of trust claim. Y'all have made it your life's mission to run around claiming that men can't be trusted simply because they're men. You know, the it's all men till it's no men argument you've made for decades now. So you can't get your panties in a bunch when the same standard is applied to you. Unless, of course, you forgot them at Chad's place after he knocked you up. But I digress.
So the real life circumstances where healthcare could have more money being put into it to actually pay for services that are going to have an outcome for health reasons. Men are willing to throw in as much money as they possibly can to feed their insecurities.
Throw in as much money as we possibly can. Oh, you mean the $300 to $500 it takes to get a legal DNA test, or the $130 to $200 for an at-home one? I mean, hell, $130 is the cost of a dinner out these days. So if you're so adamant about this, how about you stop going out to dinner ever again for the rest of your life and instead donate that money to cancer research? You willing to do that? You willing to walk the walk, honey? I mean, if you're not, what you're saying is that your dinner is more important than curing cancer or diabetes, right? That is the argument you're making. I mean, it seems pretty insignificant to me that you can no longer eat out when you can simply cook all your meals at home. You should certainly be willing to forego your weekly dining out forever to cure cancer, right? And here's another fun little bonus. It would raise a hell of a lot more money for research than a one-time DNA test to prove to your children that the man you're telling them is their father actually is, right? So step up, do the right thing. But we all know she won't, because she's a fraud, and very likely in more ways than one. Understand this. There is a very specific reason women like this are so adamant against paternity testing. And that's because they know women lie. No, they lie. And probably have lied, as I said. Not just to the courts or the man they told he is the father, but to the man who actually is the father that she's denying the right to parent, and most importantly, the child. Their child. The child she claims to love with all her heart, yet is flat out lying to, literally from the day they're born. These women are who they are, and the data speaks for itself. 30% of DNA tests done come back showing that the claimed father is not the actual father. 10 to 12% of all children born are being lied to about who their real father is. And while she doesn't think that's a big deal, wants to call it insignificant, it's anything but. What it really is, what is really going on here, is women living in fear that their lying, their cheating, their lack of morality is going to get exposed. Exposed for the world to see. Because as I said, if they were actually telling the truth, they would not only not fear a DNA test, they'd welcome it. And yet, almost universally, women oppose it, which tells you all you need to know about how much they should be trusted. Not just with paternity claims, but anything. And it's exactly why every man should demand a DNA test at birth. And if she's not willing to sign off or tries to make you feel guilty for asking, well, men, you need to understand there's a pretty good reason why. And that reason is she's hiding something.